So welcome to the series talk on Buddhism and AI and the power of mind. Today we are honored to have Dr. Tony Chui here to give a talk on Buddhism teaching in Japanese and how they use AI, which is a very popular topic nowadays. You know, AI is so influential and will increasingly influencers, and of course, there's some risk as well. Some would even say in the next 20 years, there's 10 or 20% chance that AI may wipe out 50% of human population. So you like it or not, it's time for us to get a bit more familiar with AI, how its mechanisms and how its work on the daily life, including arts. And Dr. Tony Chui, he's adjunct assistant professor here, which is very popular in Japanese teaching, especially Zen Buddhism and ascetics Japanese. So let's welcome Tony Chui here. Thank you.
Thank you. Is my voice okay? Thank you, Dr. Gao, and thank you, CBS, for giving me this opportunity to talk about AI and Buddhism. Okay, so I think there are many of our friends are online. Can you hear me? 74. Hello, can you hear me? Online?
Yep, it's okay.
Yes. Okay, great. So thank you. So today's class or today's lecture will be quite short, maybe 40 minutes. So let's get started. Okay, so some ice-breaking questions before we start. Okay, seems online. Okay. So for those online, you can still participate in this class. Okay, so whatever you are, wherever you are. Okay, so are you familiar with Mentimeter? Okay, please, Mentimeter. Online, can you see the Mentimeter form? Yes. Okay, let's get started. Okay, you can just scan this QR code and have some ice-breaking questions before we dive into today's topic. Okay, let's get started. So basically, before I begin any of our discussion, just would like to know, what are your thoughts on AI or artificial intelligence as a tool to teach or even to preach Buddhism? What are your thoughts? Okay, so you can input a word or a phrase, okay, up to 25 characters. Dangerous, whoa, dangerous. Questionable, why? Obvious. These are the expected answers. Okay, why? Moral, wisdom, discipline, tailor-made, okay, efficient. Okay, this is a positive term here. Okay, but basically, as we all know, we got lots of concern. Okay, there are benefits and there are lots of drawbacks and there are lots of risks as well. So how can we apply AI to teach Buddhism, or should we try to use AI to teach Buddhism? And that is a very important question we have to counter today. So I will use an example from the Japanese culture or the Japanese society to see whether this AI things works or not. If it works, okay, how should it going to be working? Okay, should we totally just ignore it, or we try to engage it as a skillful means in Buddhism? Okay, thank you for participating. Okay, so lots of things. So we'll come back to this question. Thank you all. Okay. So let's come back. So today's talks will try to explore, okay, in this short lecture, we'll try to explore something ambitious. So basically, what are the current states of Buddhism in Japan? We need to understand the social, political, or social, cultural aspects of Japanese or Buddhism in Japan in order to analyze how should we apply AI, okay, in Japan. This is the first thing. Okay. The second thing is how technology and AI, okay, technology, then we advance to AI, can enhance the accessibility of teaching Buddhism. So that is quite important. As we all know, we cannot avoid, okay, using AI nowadays because everyone is engaging in AI. So AI makes Buddhism more accessible. So how is this accessible in the Japanese culture, Japanese society? So we will try to talk a little bit on this. And finally, we have to engage, okay, all kinds of risk. For example, potential risks that our friends just have mentioned on Mentimeter. Okay, what are the risks? How dangerous it is to engage in AI to teach Buddhism? So we'll try to talk about this in this short 40 minutes. Okay, let's get started. So if you are online, you have anything, okay, please type in your question. Okay, just let me know. Okay, can you listen? Okay, the volume is low. Let me control the mic level. Okay, is it okay now? Yeah. Because there
Oh,
will be
yes,
some.
that's better.
Good, that's better. Okay, so let's get started. Whoa. Okay, so let's get back to Buddhism in Japan. Fascinating topics. Lots of students are interested in my courses. So what is Buddhism? Okay, what is Buddhism in Japan? So basically, Buddhism, okay, is a unique tradition. Okay, Japanese Buddhism or Buddhism in Japan is a quite unique tradition. Why is it unique? There are unique forms of Buddhisms. Okay, unique forms of Buddhisms. So why are you saying that, Tony, the essence is the same? How come you're saying that different forms of Buddhism? Because Buddhism in Japan, okay, or Buddhism meant different things to different people in Japan. So there are lots of schools, okay, for example, Pure Land schools, Zen schools, the Shingon schools, Tendai schools, and the Nichiren, and there are many more schools. So here we have the Kamakura Buddha. So this Buddha is from which school? Anyone here? So this one is from Pure Land school, okay, Kamakura Buddhism or Kamakura Buddha. Second thing, okay, here was this interesting ritual here. Shingon ritual. What's that? Honma ritual. So basically, I attended this ritual, okay, and this ritual, they're allowed to take photographs, okay? So sometimes Buddhism might mean some rituals, okay, in Japan. How about this one? Zen, Kaninji, okay, the cuspid window looking at the Zen garden. Zen could means serenity, tranquility, okay, meditation, okay, for the Japanese. And how about this one? Okay, close, not Tendai, but this one is Nichiren. Nambo Renge Kyo. This is the Daimoku, reciting the Daimoku or the title of the Lotus Sutra. For Nichiren Buddhists, okay, can obtain salvation, okay, from the Buddha. So Buddhism, okay, there are many traditions, might mean many different things for different people in Japan, but they can be practiced together in Japan. So when we look at the figures here, we notice that, for example, oh, how many Shintos are in Japan? 70, around 70%. Then they have another survey, okay, how many Buddhists in Japan? 70, around 70. Okay, you might notice that, Tony, this doesn't add up, okay, 70% plus 70%, more than 100%. Why is that so? Okay, and others as well. Because in Japan, people do not adhere to a single religion. Okay, they can adhere to multiple religions at the same time. So this is quite special for the Japanese culture. And they can adhere to different forms of Buddhism, okay, in their lifetime as well. So they can practice rituals, Goma rituals, as well as meditation practice, as well as chanting Amida Buddha, okay, to aspire for the Pure Land. Okay, so that's why they can adhere to different aspects of Buddhism. So why is that important? This is important because how can we frame AI, okay, the teaching of AI according to different schools, okay? If you frame it to Amida Buddha, Pure Land teachings, the, okay, the faithful from the Shingon school might oppose to this, okay, because they rely on rituals. So how can we solve this problem? So we will tackle this, okay, in this class. Okay, so this is an example, okay, so people, okay, according to the Japanese culture, can believe in many religions, okay? There's a saying that was the saying, born Shinto, marry Christian, and die Buddhist. What does that mean? So basically, when you have a newborn child, you will bring him, he or she, to something called Miyamari, okay? Miyamari, shrine visits, okay? So basically, for every newborn, okay, normally they will bring the newborn child to this shrine visit, okay, but they will not bring them to the Buddhist temple, okay, quite common for Japanese people. So anything here, okay, just the just the audio. So basically, so when you get married, okay. Let's do that. Okay. Let me get the mic closer to me. Okay. So basically you get marriage, okay, in a church as well as in Shinto shrine. Okay. Normal people will not get married in a Buddhist temple. So this is one of the characteristics. So most often when will people get to a temple or affiliated with a temple, most often for funerals, okay, for the dyings. So why is that so? Because there is a belief in the culture saying that you have to die Buddhist, you have to bury in a Buddhist cemetery. Okay, you have to bury in a Buddhist cemetery in order to have a better afterlife. Okay, this is Pure Land thoughts. So basically, you receive a kaimyo. Okay, the volume is good for now. Okay, thank you. So basically, the deceased or the dead will receive a kaimyo, a Buddhist name, okay, after the death. Only that, okay, you can be buried in a Buddhist cemetery. Okay, so these are the things. Okay, so if you are going to teach Buddhism or preach Buddhism in Japan, you have to consider that people do not adhere to a single religion, but they can have multiple religions at the same time. So this is a headache here. Okay, it's just for my undergrad students. So basically, how come Buddhists and Shinto and other religion got practiced all together? We have to look back at history. So basically, this is the historical periods of Japan. Okay, so from prehistorical periods up to the modern periods, the Reiwa periods. This is the era we are having nowadays. So basically, since the Kofun period, okay, the old grave period, okay, Buddhism is introduced from China, okay, from China. And basically, in the Asuka period, okay, Prince Shotoku, famous, okay, prince who have propagated Buddhism in Japan, okay, try to integrate Buddhism into Japanese culture. Back then, it was Shinto or Proto-Shinto is dominating. How can he, okay, introduce Buddhism into Japan without offending the Proto-Shinto or the Shintoism? During that time, is that they try to interwoven Buddhism together with Shinto. And that's why across around 1,000 years, Buddhism and Shinto has been practiced together, and they were so-called one religion, okay, up to the Meiji period. Okay, so we have a propagation during the Asuka period and got domination during the feudal period because the Zen, Rinzai, and the Soto school got affiliated with the shogunate government, and the shogunate government just promoted Zen Buddhism during this time. That's why Zen Buddhism got so much admired, okay, during these times and even up to nowadays. But up to the Meiji period, okay, we saw something really bad happens here. There is a rejection of Buddhism. So why is that so? Because the Meiji government would like to promote something else. Do you know what's that something else? They would like to promote a special form of Shintoism known as state Shinto, Koka Shinto. So that's why they try to reject, okay, all the Buddhist thoughts and try to preach or try to introduce this state Shintoism. And later on, there is a mass destruction of Buddhist movements during these times. And since then, Buddhism is still reviving, getting back in full force, but never as the same as before during this domination period. So we will try to look at this. Okay. So what is Shinto and Buddhism? How do they mingle together? So as I have talked about just now, Shinto and Buddhism has been practiced together since the Asuka period, since the introduction by Prince Shotoku. Okay, so that is a technical term here known as a Shinbuju Shugo. Shinbuju Shugo. This is the kanji here, saying that there is a syncretism of Kami and Buddha. So basically, Prince Shotoku, and his later followers, would like to intermingle Buddhism and Shintoism. How do they put it together? It's by a concept known as Honji Suijaku. So basically, they would like to, claim that, the god or the kami, this is an example here, Amaterasu here, the sun goddess Amaterasu, is basically a manifestation of the Buddha, Vairochana. So Vairochana is an Indian deity, which manifests into a kami. Then this kami, helps the Japanese people, which is easier because she speaks Japanese. So basically, this is the concept. So that's why Shintoism and Buddhism is intermingled together. Basically, the kami are just manifestation of some Indian deities. So we have lots of theory behind this. We even have books, on which Buddhist deities is manifest into which kami as well. So, and on top of that, we have Buddhist temples built together with Shinto shrines known as the Jinguji system. Basically Shinto and Buddhism are practiced together up to the Meiji period for thousands, not thousands, for hundreds of years, more than 1,000 years. So when you look at some homes in Japan, you notice that, this evidence of syncretism is existing in every home. For example, when you visit a Japanese home, this is from a website here, it's not surprising you'll find a Buddhist author, and on top of that, you can see a Kamidan, a Shinto author, So why is that so? This symbolizes that, or this just demonstrates that Buddhism can be practiced with Shintoism, and the Japanese culture would or can believe in multiple religions at the same time. So this is one of the characteristics of the Japanese culture. So why is that important? Because when we are constructing AI, we need to understand that Shintoism could be a part of Buddhism, and we have to take an account on this. So there is not much difference between Shintoism and Buddhism, up to the Meiji Restoration. So as I've talked about just now, the Meiji government promoted state Shinto, and that's why they try to separate Shintoism and Buddhism. So they separate Shintoism and Buddhism. So we have now Shintoism versus Buddhism. Basically, the magic number here, 1868. I told my student to remember this. This is a turning point for Japanese Buddhism. Why is that so? Because we have something really interesting happens here, known as Shinbuju Bunri, separation of Kami and Buddhas. So basically, what happens is that the Meiji government would tell all the citizens that this is a wrong concept. Shintoism is different from Buddhism. So basically, Amaterasu, the kami here, the sun goddess here, is not a manifestation of the Buddha Vairochana. Basically, they are different. Okay, and actually they burned many of these texts as well during this time. On top of that, okay, how can they destroy Buddhism? Okay, in a movement known as destroying Buddhism movement, is that over 40,000 temples were destroyed, statues, artifacts, okay, you name it, is thrown into the river or maybe burned as fire logs, and even the tower, okay, the Buddhist tower, but pagoda at Nara is torn down and sold as fire logs during this time. So most of the things that you see nowadays when you go to Nara, okay, the pagoda here is actually a remake, okay, a replica, okay, of something, okay, before the Meiji Restoration, okay, or even after the World War, Second World War. So basically, after the Meiji Restoration, there is a downfall. There was a downfall of Buddhism, and this downfall never get back to its original form for Buddhism. So many scholars, okay, many Buddhist monastics, and many people would like to revive Buddhism, okay, but they have a hard time because the government do not support Buddhism, okay, as well. So revitalizing of Buddhism is very important. Okay, AI is one of the means that we can revive Buddhism. Quite important, okay, since the Meiji era or since the Meiji period. So basically not quite successful. Why is that so? Okay, these are some of the issues here. Okay, social change, urbanization. Okay, basically of the people just move from the rural area, the countryside, to the city, and many of the temples, okay, either abandoned, destroyed, or leftover temples were left abandoned, even left abandoned in rural areas. So this is quite important. Nobody just keep these temples, okay, even up to nowadays. And there's a cultural shift when there is a Western ideas influx since the Meiji Restoration. Western ideas is considered more superior than traditional values, okay, since the Meiji Restoration or in the Meiji Restoration. So basically, the Japanese, okay, culture would like to believe in something new or Westerns instead of traditional values. So these are the things that we have to consider, okay, about when we are trying to investigate how come so many young generations do not believe in Buddhism. And now for the current trends, there is a decrease in membership. Okay, what kind of membership? So the membership of Buddhists, okay, of Buddhism. So people no longer, okay, take refuge in Buddhism, but they just believe in Buddhism, okay, casually, okay. So that is decrease in membership, okay, from monasteries or temples. And what does that lead to? Okay, no one is supporting the temples, okay. There is financial struggles among all the temples in Japan. So that's why when you watch the news, you will notice that, okay, there are many temples in Japan are selling, okay, are selling. Why not we get one, okay? So there are many temples selling because they cannot run the temple. Why is that so? If you are trying to buy one of them, please reconsider. Why? Because you have to pay tax, okay, lots of tax for the temples. And running the temple is not easy in Japan because you have to pay for maintenance, okay? And the other thing is you can create any forms of religion in Japan, okay, after the Second World War, because there is a constitution or laws on that. We will try to discuss on that as well. So there are many other forms of religion, many new schools forming. So people would like to follow other schools other than traditional forms of Buddhism. So these are the things that we have to consider. So should we use AI? Okay. If you do not use AI, okay, the thing is that Buddhism or the adherence to Buddhism will spiral down, okay? If you use AI or technology, for sure, more people will benefit from Buddhism. So we have to take a balance, okay, on these thoughts. So this is the Constitution of Japan. Basically, after the Second World War, okay, Japan has changed to a military country or demilitarized into the states of Japan. So basically they have signed a constitution of Japan. It's really long. Okay, so but for religion, 3 articles here, okay, are quite important. Okay, this is Article 20 about religion. So basically, okay, after the Second World War, okay, Japan do not adhere to a single religion because they admitted that state Shinto is no good for the country. So they will not force anyone to believe in a single religion since then. Okay. So basically freedom of religion is guaranteed to all. You can create or run any forms of religion, and you should not force anyone to believe in one religion, nor exercise any political authority from a religion. And the second thing is no person should be compelled in taking in any parts in any religion, acts, celebration, rites, or practice. So you cannot force anyone to believe in religion. Okay, that is the thing. So when you are designing AI, you cannot say that, oh, you have to believe in Buddhism for salvation. Okay, or maybe for enlightenment. Why? Because you are trying to force someone to believe in religion. Okay. And the third thing is that states and its organs shall refrain from religious education or any other religious activity. Basically, the government, the state, should not sponsor any religious related activities. So that's why there is no funding to run, for example, a temple, or there's no funding to run any forms of religious experiments or related activities. Why is that so? Because this is written in the Article 20, of the Constitution of Japan. So you cannot, all the states cannot support a temple to run. Okay. So this is the challenges here that we have to tackle down. Okay. So the cost, money, really important. How can you run a temple? How can you run something, or run Buddhism, or continue to propagate Buddhism, with limited, amount of money, or wealth. And there's shortage of monastics. So there are many forms of schools, religious schools of beliefs. There are less and less people would like to join the monastics. So less people are joining the monastics. And there's a concept of funeral Buddhism. So remember, as I've talked about just now, Buddhism in Japan, to many people is just funeral Buddhism. So they will encounter Buddhism, once in a lifetime, or during funeral, during funeral. So they have to change this concept to something like Buddhism is for enlightenment, Buddhism is for wisdom, They have to change this concept. And there's a survey, saying that by the year 2040, this is 15 years from now, 2040, about 30% more of Buddhist temples will be closing down. So right now we are in a situation, or the Japanese is in a situation that more temples is closing down if we do not act quickly. So Buddhism is quite in a situation that is diminishing since the Meiji period. Remember, 40,000 temples is destroyed, and now 30% of the remaining temples, will be closed down. So imagine, we have to do something. So we have to engage in AI, to address this challenge. Why? Pretty obvious, engage younger generations and cut temple costs, and standardize the teaching, because everyone have different preconception or perception about Buddhism. By using AI or technology, we can standardize, at least to a certain degree, the teachings, of the Buddha, original teachings of the Buddha, and we can address the decline of monastics, because we have robots, for acts as monastics, and we will examine this, because this is quite important. Can we use robots to replace human? And this is an important topic in AI as well. So this is the monks here, with a robot. This is not monks, this is Canon, Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara. So this is one of the technology they used in 2019, known as the Minder. This is the katakana here. So basically, who is Minder? Minder is this robot here. Who is he or who is she? Okay, a robot, okay, created to represent Canon Bosatsu. Okay, Bosatsu is Bodhisattva. Okay, Canon Bosatsu. So basically, this is a famous robot. Okay, is now in Kodaiji. Okay, Kodaiji. Where is Kodaiji? In Kyoto. Okay, basically, this is a famous temple. Why famous? Because this was built at the end or at the beginning of the Edo period, okay, by the wife of Toyotomi Hideyoshi, okay, very famous, okay, very famous historical figure here who unified Japan, Toyotomi Hideyoshi. His wife, okay, after his death, built this Kodaiji. So this is a famous site for visitors as well. So famous sites for visitors and famous place for the propagation of Buddhism. So many people, many visitors will be there. Okay, so who built this? Minder, okay, famous robotics engineer, okay, researcher, scholar, Ishiguro Hiroshi, okay, famous one from the University of Osaka. Okay, he built this robot to represent Canon. So what did this Minder do? Is that this Bosatsu, okay, robot Bosatsu, robot Bodhisattva will teach Heart Sutra in Japanese. Okay, so this book canon, okay, we'll talk about the Heart Sutra, okay, and some explanation on Heart Sutra, but only in Japanese because we have subtitles in English and Chinese at the back. Okay, so this solves some problems, okay, that we face. Okay, is that the lack of monastic, okay, we will have the bodhisattva at the temple 24/7, okay, 24 hours a day, talking about the Heart Sutra. And people who are troubled, okay, with anxiety or with some peace of mind can visit the temples there, okay. The bodhisattva, the robot, is always there. So we solve the problem of lacking of monastics of people. So, but you will notice there is something really serious here. Can a robot replace a human? Okay, this is a big question here. So big questions, can AI replace human or will AI replace human? And what is the drawback of the times when AI is replaced or when human is replaced by AI? So we have to think about this, okay? And the second thing, the most important thing, is that this project, okay, costs about, I cannot count, 100 million yen, okay, 100 million yen. Pretty expensive because this is not cost effective, although it solved the problem of lack of monastics, lack of people in the temples, but quite expensive. So this is 2019, so we are now in 2025. So 3 years ago, we will say you don't need robotics, okay? Actually, you only need an telephone, okay, an iPhone. So what's an iPhone? So an iPhone, okay, can represent the teacher, the bodhisattva. And this is changing in paradigm, okay? The change to the Buddha bot, okay? Instead of, okay, going to the temple, getting the robotics, okay, to teach you the Heart Sutra, why not getting this to be your teacher, okay? Instead of saying, hey, Siri, so no one's phone is working now. Okay, hey Siri, anyone online's phone is working? Okay, you say, hey Buddha. Okay, so when you say hey Buddha, so a Buddha-like figure, okay, not mine. A Buddha-like figure will appear on your smartphone. Okay, and this is basically the Buddha bot, and he will ask you, okay, how can I help you? Okay, how can I help you? So basically, this is the Buddha bots, and they are developing in Japan now. Okay, Buddha bots, AI-driven chatbots. Okay, AI-driven chatbots. They're run by the Google BERT. Okay, model. Okay, Google BERT model. Okay, this is something technical here. So who discovered or originated this is by a professor at the University of Kyoto known as Kumagai Seiji, okay, famous professor here, okay. He developed this system, the Buddha bot, okay, hey Buddha, okay, hey Buddha. So you can read his article here, okay, just released in January. So development at the beginning, 2021, it was just called Buddha bot. It's non-generative. So basically what is non-generative AI is that they inputted lots of sutras, okay, into this Buddha bot, and the Buddha bot will just match your question with the sutta, and they will just generate, not generate, but they will just match the answer according to the sutra. So this is the Buddha bot's original form. So not quite generative yet. The answer is non-generative. They just match the answer with their database. So in 2022, okay, they make something really interesting. They used AR technology. Is that they make a Buddha avatar, okay, a Buddha avatar, okay, on the phone. So when you call, hey Buddha, then this Buddha avatar will appear and say, oh, how can I help you today? So you can type in your questions. So 2023, okay, you have Buddha bot plus, okay, what's the difference between the previous one is that this is generative, okay, this is generative. At this time, okay, many of us know what is AI, and me too, in 2023, okay, generative AI. So is that this system, the Buddha bot plus merges, okay, uses AI, okay, by merging Buddha bot together with ChatGPT 3.5 during that time, and now 4.0, okay, 4 or 4.5 nowadays. So basically, they merge the Buddha bot, okay, together with ChatGPT and make it generative. So basically, when you ask the Buddha questions, they will match this sutras, okay, together with something generative on the AI. So basically, this is the development of Buddha bot. So there's further development where in 2025, they have Shinran bot and Vasubandhu bot, okay, based on the Buddha bot plus. So why is that so Shinran bot and Vasubandhu bot? At the beginning of the lecture today, I talk about, okay, Japan or the Japanese culture would follow different forms of Buddhism. So in order to respect, okay, different schools, because Japanese, okay, talks about respect, okay, we respect every people here. So they have different forms of Buddha bots to cater for different schools of Buddhism. For example, Shinran bot, okay, Shinran named after the famous Jodo Shunshu founder, okay, the Pure Land School founder, Jodo Shunshu, famous Pure Land School in Japan, okay, named Shinran, okay, the master Shinran, based on his Shinran's Shoshige, okay, the text written by him, commentary written by him, okay, is that this is a book on faith is the most important thing in Buddhism, okay, and we have one Vasubandhu bot, okay, basically this bot, okay, is modeled after Vasubandhu, okay, who is Vasubandhu, an Indian scholar monk in the 4th century, okay, who talks about Indian philosophy, okay, and this bot is based on Vasubandhu's Abhidhamma, okay, Kosa, okay, Abhidhamma Kosha, okay, so basically two different systems here, okay, one based on Pure Land thoughts, okay, according to Shinran, and this one, Vasubandhu bot, is based on the Abhidhamma Kosha. So we have two bots here. So you say, hey, Shinran, okay. So you ask, how come I have so many obstacles in my life? Okay, then Shinran here will answer, this is a simulation here. And Shinran will answer, okay, have faith in the Amida Buddha, chant his name, his title, okay, Namo Amida Buddha, okay, and your obstacles, okay, will be gone, okay. So this is Shinran bot, okay, in order for cater the Pure Land schools, okay, adherence. So how about the Vasubandhu bot? So this is the same question, okay. Hey Vasubandhu, I have a hard times in my life. How can I solve this? Okay, and Vasubandhu will answer, okay. Look at what is arise in your mind, okay. The hardship is originated from your mind, okay. So knowing this will let you out of suffering. So different answers, okay, different answers. So why is that important? Because we have to cater different traditions, okay? We have to respect different tradition as well. So this is the thing that we have to take into consideration if we are trying to create AI. We cannot create a single AI that can suit everybody, but multiple systems as well. So many of you will try to get your app store where it's Wanshu Bandu bot or Shinren's bot. Okay, so don't get it now because not released to the public yet. Okay, this is not released to public yet. But when you go to, for example, POE and or other chatbots, oh, I can see Buddha bots there. This is not this Buddha bot. Okay, this is another Buddha bot created by somebody because this professor takes things seriously because Buddhism, okay, you do it well, okay, seriously, if you do it well, you can help somebody, okay, you can help out sentient beings. If you do it the wrong way, okay, you can lead people to the wrong way, leading people to more suffering. That's why we have to recheck, okay, test, okay, recheck again, okay, in order to lead people into the correct path. So this is under testing. Okay, how are they going to test it? Is that this is the professor here? Okay, the professor here. So how are they going to test it? Is testing this system with monastics. Okay, so how are they going to test this? Is that okay? So basically, I'll answer this question. So basically, they have the request of the Bhutanese, okay, central monastic body of Bhutan, okay, have the request saying that, okay, we can, okay, test this system for you, okay, then they have a collaboration, okay. So in the next 3 years, okay, more than 200 monastics across Bhutan will be able to use this chatbot, okay, Buddha bot, okay. So basically they are trying to refine, okay, refine the system, okay, and to make sure the system works, okay, and they are going to translate the Japanese things, okay, into modern language, into English as well. So this will be accessible for not only for the Japanese people, but for everyone, okay, because this will be in English. So they will try to extract teachings applicable to modern society as well. So they will try to apply their teachings, okay, of the chatbot that can be applicable to modern societies. So you might ask me, Tony, why do you need, okay, 3 years? Okay, because ChatGPT, okay, you can use ChatGPT just for, okay, they're emerging within weeks or within months. Okay, how come you need 3 years? Because as I've said just now, we need to, okay, assess the risk, okay? If not, we can easily lead people into a path of more suffering instead of enlightenment. So that's why they need this kind of risk management. So basically, they need to improve the accuracy of the data, that is the sutra and the teachings, and they have to improve the English version, and they have to analyze the risk as well. There are many risks, okay? At the beginning of the class, we have noticed that all of our participants, they are really smart, okay? They know all the risks already. So what are the risks, okay? These are the risks, okay, that we have to assess before, you know, letting this AI to be in the market, to be used by many ones. Otherwise, okay, you will, okay, make people into suffering, but not enlightenment. So what are the risks here? Okay, basically in AI or in system design, we have something called LC, okay, ethical, legal, and social implications. In Europe, this is called ELSA, okay. A stands for aspects, okay, but in the States, they call it LC, okay, legal, ethical, legal, and social implications. So basically, we have to consider, is this Buddha bot ethical? Okay, is the information accurate? Okay, is the information accurate? Is that authentic Buddhist? Okay, and the privacy, user privacy. So will the user using the chatbot, okay, to tell the chatbot some family matters, will the chatbot use this data to tell others? Okay, this is data privacy here, and also emotional support. Can an AI, okay, support people who are in severe depression? Okay, this is ethical. Okay, you can support somebody who are not so happy. Okay, but can you support somebody who are in clinical depression? This is the thing we have to consider, okay, ethical. And legal things, sometimes ethical things can be legal, and sometimes legal things cannot be ethical as well. So, but there is a crossover here. We have to consider the legal things here. Is that the intellectual property, okay, is the sutra or the teachings have some copyrights. We have to consider this, okay, the liability. What happens if you, a user, okay, consult AI and later on get into more depression, okay, who is to blame? And this is the liability of the AI that they have to consider in these 3 years, and also the compliance, okay, should they comply to something for data protection like the GDPR, okay, the general data protection regulations, okay, this is a common regulations around the world. Should they follow this or other things? And another impact is the social impact, okay, social implications. So ensure that the bot is accessible to diverse populations and cultural respects. Okay, this is the thing that we have talked about just now. So we have to cater for every schools, okay, every thought of Buddhism, okay, not just for Zen Buddhism, nor just for Pure Land Buddhism, but we have to cater, okay, is it cultural sensitive? So what might seems to be good for Pure Land Buddhism might not be appealing for Zen Buddhists, okay? So we have to take this into consideration. So what is the impact on traditional practices? For example, can the AI, our phone, okay, replace monastics, okay? Or can monastics, okay, use AI to teach Buddhism better than they taught themselves? Okay, we have to consider this. And also the generation divide, okay? How about, okay, older generation people cannot use AI, okay? They will need to go to the monastics, but younger generations, okay, they will focus on using their iPhone, smartphones. So this will create a separation, okay, from what is believing in Buddhism. So we have to take this all into considerations. So apart from this, this is a headache, but we have to face it, okay? Apart from this, Elsie, okay, risk here, we have the benefits, of course. Of course, accessibility, everyone can access. Okay, Buddhist teaching, this is good. Okay, if we do it well, everyone can get out of suffering. Okay, the second thing is engagement. Okay, so we can engage, okay, at home, okay, with our iPhone instead of going to temples, okay, going to the MBS to study the sutras. Okay, we can all engage Buddhism via our phones. And basically, personalization, okay, we do not need to attend classes, okay, the Buddha bot is tailored for you, okay, on your phone, okay, and preservations. So we can safeguard this because this is on the platform, on the cloud, okay. Buddhist sutras or Buddhist teachings can be there forever, okay. Also innovations, you can match innovations, okay, with AI. This is fun for many people, especially for younger generations, because innovation is quite important, okay, because we are all engaging in technologies nowadays. So for community, okay, so we have a community, okay, on the program, okay, you can exchange knowledge and we can support each other as well. So these are basically the benefits of using AI, okay. So coming back to the question just now, okay, very important, is using AI to teach Buddhism beneficials, okay. So instead of just outright rejecting AI, okay, we know this is impossible, no AI at all, so this is impossible in 2025, okay, no AI at all, or fully embracing it, okay, we have to use AI to teach Buddhism, nothing else, okay, and this is wrong as well. So what the Buddha said is the middle way. So we have to balance this approach. So we have to use AI, but use in a way that is really cautious. We have to consider everything. For example, critical evaluation, all the benefits, all the drawbacks of AI. So what are the ethical consideration is using AI ethical, okay? If this is not, how can we solve this issue, ethical issues? And also integration, how can we integrate the tradition, okay? Original tradition teachings by monastics, how can we integrate AI within them, okay, instead of just rejecting, saying that AI cannot teach Buddhism, but integrating them and also continuously monitoring the whole thing. So if anything just get wrong, okay, we can just make amendments or revision to this. So basically, this is the things that we have to think about, okay, in our development of AI. So some afterthoughts. So after this class, I hope you have a different aspects of understanding of how AI is developing in teaching Buddhism, okay, particularly in Japan, because we have a plurality of Buddhist schools in Japan. So how can, okay, after this class, what are we things? Okay, did we change our perception on AI, or this is the thing, I reject AI at all? So I know many of us online would like to participate. So why not just give your thoughts, then I can answer the questions here as the best I can, okay? Or others can answer the question as well if I cannot answer the question, because AI is a new topic nowadays, okay? I'm not expert, okay? Honestly, I'm not expert on AI, but we can understand this as well. So anyone here, okay, you can just go to menti.com and type in this code, okay? So maybe I go in the first page as well, the first page first, okay? So you type this, you scan this code. Okay, scan this code. Okay. So there are many of us online, so I will try to make this more interactive. Okay. Yes, innovative, good, expensive, really expensive, but nowadays, okay, ChatGPT, okay, or if your Buddha bot involving ChatGPT will be less expensive, very convenient. It is just a new skillful means, just like any other skillful means. Yes, this is really good answers. For example, for Mahayana Buddhists, okay, there are 84,000 doors to enlightenment. So AI, if you consider in this way, this is just a skillful means. This is uncertain at this stage, of course. Can AI reincarnate? So this is a good question and a deep question. So does AI have consciousness? Okay. So this is something that we have to know. So we might say, okay, a machine cannot have consciousness, but how can we know a machine do not have consciousness? Okay. So can we know an AI can reincarnate? This is a good question and necessary. Okay. This is necessary if you consider it, okay, in Japan, in Japan, in the social cultural settings of Japan. This is necessary because there are less and less temples, less and less monastics. Okay, innocent, good business, really good. Okay, so let me try. Sorry. So might be good tools for self-learning, but there are needs for ethical reinforcement. Yeah, this is important. It's a gimmick. Yeah, somebody might say, okay, AI is a gimmick nowadays, but we have to really consider about this. Is this really a gimmick, or this can really help, okay, sentient beings in the long run? Support. Okay, easy for you. Oh, there are lots of questions here. Okay, so we have to critical think the intention behind whom creating such bots. For what? Yes. This is important. Yeah, this is important, and that's why we have to test this, okay, with monastics to see whether there is a hidden agenda, okay, behind, okay, the Buddha bot. Okay, this is important. This adds to the thing that I have missed just now. Okay, that I have this discussion just now. Okay, so back to monetary so that we can get support from the Sangha. So there are many things. So basically, that's it. Do we have any questions from the audience? Okay. Any questions, or you can answer these questions more efficiently than me. me see. Also wonder what is interesting.
Some questions online.
Some questions online. So we answer the question first. Yes.
Thank you for
Yes.
your professor. I have some question, and I'm wondering if the artificial intelligence it could be omniscient, just like
Omniscient.
omniscient, right?
So
That is
it can do anything, everything,
yeah,
like God.
just like the Buddha is omniscient.
In a Japanese context, okay, omniscience can mean many different things. Okay, omniscience to everything in the world, omniscience to enlightenment, or omniscience in rituals, getting worldly things. Okay, so but right now, okay, with all the restrictions here at this present point, AI is not omniscience. Okay, it's not omniscience, but I don't know whether later on it will becomes perfect. Okay, but there's no perfect. Okay, imperfection is perfection, and I think not within my lifetime. Okay, AI became omniscient.
If the artificial intelligence couldn't be omniscient,
Yes.
so what if there will become empiricism? Empiricism，如果说这个 AI 不能全知全能的话，那它会不会变成 empiricism，就是一个经验主义的东西？
We can look at this
So,
questions at another angle. So everything, okay, in Buddhism is a skillful means. There is no perfection. Okay, every way or every way, 84,000 way is just skillful means. So this skillful means, okay, of course, each way, okay, each teaching of the Buddha have some drawbacks. Okay, there is no perfect teachings. Okay, there's no perfect teachings. So you do not choose a way that is perfect, but you need to choose a way that is perfect for you, that suits you well. And this is the most important question. So there is no perfection in AI, but you need to choose the AI that is suitable for you. That is why they have the Shinran board, Vasubandhu board, and later many forms of board to suit different people, for different adherents. For example, the Vasubandhu board for philosophers like Buddhists, okay, this is perfect for them, but not for the Pure Land Buddhists.
The last question is, I have many things want to say. Just like if the AI it can be conducting people to be kindness, or it could be easily manipulated people to be helpful.
Yes, this is the ethical issues. So we have to understand, okay, what is the ethical issues behind, for example, the Buddha bot? What is the intention of creating the Buddha bot? So that is why there are monastics, there are different experts have to examine this, okay, to see whether this Buddha bot is actually manipulating people, or is it teaching the correct Dharma, the correct way. So we still have to revise and revise. But otherwise, this is pretty dangerous for not just Buddhists, but for everyone, because people who do not understand Buddhism, okay, might be using this bot, and they have a wrong preconception of Buddhism, okay, and this is where the things get wrong.
Does the artificial intelligence could facilitate people to prevent the superstition in the religion?
It depends. So it depends on what is superstitions, because for Shingon Buddhism, for example, okay, you have many rituals. Okay, can you consider this ritual superstitious? For Shingon adherents, this is not superstitions, because all these kinds of rituals have hidden meanings, esoteric teachings. Okay, they have another level of explanation behind this so-called superstitious rituals. Okay, so but for others, for example, for philosophical loving Buddhists, okay, they might say this is superstitious. So it depends on the people that you are talking to or the adherents you are talking to. So you cannot say, okay, is, for example, if I create Buddha bot, okay, Shingon Buddha bot, okay, Shingon Kukai Buddha bot. Hey, Kukai, okay, is this Hama ritual superstitious? He will say, no, this is a ritual that originated in India, have a very profound meaning within it, okay? So this is not getting you into superstitious, but just to clear you out, this is not superstitious.
Okay, thank you. Okay, last question.
Yes.
How to the artificial intelligence, which is a does the Buddha he's really don't care about the metaphysical things, because a couple months later ago, a professor he told me that the Buddha he don't care about the metaphysical thing because he's more concerned about the present life. So the metaphysical things is just like who created the universe? Why he don't explain these issues?
Yes, that's correct understanding of Buddhism, because the Buddha's intention, Buddha has many intentions, but one of his most important intention is to get sentient beings or beings out of suffering, okay, out of suffering. This is the most important thing. How to get out of suffering is from the parable of the poison arrow, okay. When you are stuck by the poison arrow, this is a story. When you are stuck by the poison arrow, okay, you are going to die, okay. A physician come, okay, will help you out to get out of the arrow, get out of the poison. You will not ask, okay, whether this poison is this from the poison dart frog or from something else, but your primary concern is to get the arrow out and the poison out. So this is correct understanding of Buddhism, is that Buddhism do not focus on something which is metaphysical, extraordinary, but focus on getting out of suffering. Okay, this
Suffering.
is, yes, suffering.
Just like the causality between your previous life and your present life.
Something that has happened before, you cannot change it, okay.
No.
You cannot change it. So
Okay.
at this life, okay, make the best you can, okay, to improve it. And this is the correct understanding, okay. Not to think about the past, okay, I regret for the past. This is important, you regret for the past because you're improving your life, okay. But this is not important. What is important is that you are advancing, okay, you are deliberating in this life, okay, in
Thank
this
you.
present moment, okay.
Thank you, Professor.
Hi, Professor. Can you hear me? I joined the meeting online, so can I ask some question online?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I'm so interested in this topic, and I am a psychology major. I'm trying to figure out like some using the traditional things and to help the people to have the better like the health well-being. So I'm wondering, so like how the Buddhism mean for Chinese people today. So because in China, some people may not like formally take the refugee, but they still worship or visit the Buddhism temple or they pray to the Buddha. Is that similar in Japan?
This is in Japan, people will go to, okay, I cannot say this is absolutely the thing, but most people, okay, do not adhere to a single religion, okay. They will just visit temples, for example, Buddhist temples only, okay, during New Year to strike the bell, to
Okay,
move
yeah.
off the obstacles, okay. This is their way to engage in Buddhism. Is this good or bad? Okay, from my point of view, okay, this is good because at least you can bring people to the temple, okay, to have some contact with Buddhism by bell striking, and hopefully, okay, later on, okay, they will investigate more on Buddhism.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. And also, in your slides, you mentioned there is some alternative spiritual practice, maybe affect like the or affect some Buddhism or something. So could you give me some like examples of what includes in like the Japanese context? What is like the alternative spiritual practice?
There are all forms of so-called new religion in Japan, or new religion. They are something similar to Buddhism, but may not be Buddhism. For example, there's a religion known as Argonshu, okay, based on Agama. But basically, this is a new form of religion, okay, which use some form of Buddhist sutra, but basically this is not a form of Buddhism. Okay, so there are many forms of new religion. Okay, so if you are interested, I can show you more. Okay, because I talk about this in my undergrad course. There are many forms of religion, and some forms of religion integrate Christianity together with Buddhism, known as there is a Gelagos church. Okay, so that is a new form of religion which integrated or amalgamation of other forms of Buddhism with Christianity as well. So there are many forms of new forms of Buddhism in Japan because the government do not restrict the forming of religious schools in Japan nowadays.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this is very interesting. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I find your question from Adrian is quite interesting. I think I have similar questions.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Your presentation gives rise to some. Yes. Yes.
Some readings. However, Adrian pointed out very good point that we have a spiritual life not only by reading words, but sometimes Buddha may teach us by not speaking, remain silent,
Yes.
or by actions. So what do you think an AI replace all this?
Yes. So at the beginning of the class, I say AI as a tool. AI is just a tool. So does AI lead you to enlightenment? AI is just the finger pointing to the moon. Whether you look to the moon is a different thing. Okay, this is just a pointer. Important tool that leads you to the correct way, but you need to work by yourself. Okay, it is just helping you to approach the enlightenment, but this is not enlightenment itself by using AI. This is not Satori in Japanese in AI, but a way or a tool to lead you to Satori. Yeah. Yes. Okay.
One question from Sophie.
Yes.
Hello, thank you for your wonderful lecture. I was wondering about the Buddha bot and how it's the connection with Bhutan and with monks in Bhutan. I was wondering whether they were the relationship was like they're training the bot, or whether it's just testing. Like, are they actually providing feedback and data for the bot to be trained on, or is it more for just like user experience?
They are doing both. They are doing both. Actually, they are trying to test the bot. If there is anything wrong, they will add more sutras, more teachings to refine the answers. And the second thing that they need to do it in Bhutan because they need to refine the English section of the AI bot because this was created in Japan. It was originally written in Japanese. So they need to bring it to Bhutan to make it more English-like. Okay, so they are doing both ways.
Thank you. I'm also wondering about whether if someone were to ask a Buddha bot or something similar for like a spiritual question or like more like a psychology focused question, and they had like a mental health crisis, how there would be like, I guess it's an ethical issue, like whether they would be contacted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a very important question. So there is a question, okay, actually from the paper that I didn't mention in the class. So the question is, what if people ask AI, okay, I would like to commit suicide, okay, so should AI reply to this answer? So this is a pretty serious ethical issue, okay. and some legal issue as well. Should AI reply to this answer? And I think they have to take into consideration into developing their bot. When they see this kind of words, okay, they have to, okay, do something on this instead of just letting the bot to answer the question, okay, suicide, okay, don't think about this and you will not commit suicide. Okay, this is a no-no, because people in suicidal conditions, okay, might think differently, and they might commit something really bad. So we have to take this into serious consideration, okay, for this thing. That's why we have to test it for 3 years, okay. They will ask all kinds of crazy questions on this, okay, on this bot. So to examine whether the AI bot or the Buddha bot should be used to treat, okay, people with clinical, okay, mental problems.
So one more question from Andrew.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Tony. I'm just curious to know if we use AI to teach Buddhism, what will happen to our compassion, the connection between you and me? Because when you're speaking to me, I
Yes.
feel the connection.
Yes.
But for the AI, I don't know what will really happen. Thank you.
That depends on a very important question in development of AI. So the important question is, do AI have feelings? Okay, do AI have feelings? So if AI have feelings, then when you're talking to an AI, okay, you can tell the difference between this is a real person and this is an AI. Okay, this is a famous example from the so-called Turing test. Okay, the Turing test, the computer test. There is a curtain, okay, and behind the curtain, you don't know this is a real person or a computer. Okay, so when you talk to this person, okay, you cannot tell apart this person is a real person or this is not a real person or computer. Okay, if you cannot tell apart, this machine passed the Turing test. Okay, so this, okay, coming back to the question, if you are talking to an AI, it can interact with you. Okay, you cannot tell apart this is a human being, okay, or not, whether he has feeling or just a machine. Okay, so in this way, okay, maybe AI, okay, can solve the problem that you have pointed out just now. Okay, but at present, of course, okay, at present, okay, when you are talking to the AI, it doesn't have some temperature, okay, it doesn't have the feeling of compassion, but we don't know, okay, maybe from 30 years, 50 years, AI can learn the compassion as human being. But that is another social issue, okay, should we talk to machines, okay, not just talk to others, okay, then everyone will be hiding in the room talking to their iPhone and not everyone. So this is a social issue that we have to consider, okay, when we're talking AI. That's a good question, okay. So that is why we have to consider the things for 3 years.
There's some other questions
Wow.
online. But we're a bit overrun the time. Do you want to select one or we just stop here?
Oh,
Can you
there are
speak
many.
in Chinese? In Mandarin?
I speak in for that, but there are many questions. But if you have more questions, okay, thank you for your questions, okay. I think you love this lecture. If you have more questions, you can email me. I can answer these questions, okay, because I see.
Are you going to type your email here?
Okay,
So
I'm type the email here, okay. Okay, this is my okay. You can contact me because sorry about that. We are running out of time, but I have tons of questions. Okay, so thank you all for your questions. Okay, this is my email here. Okay, you can email me. Okay, Megan. Sorry, I cannot answer your question. Okay, please email me. Okay, please email me if you have more questions about AI in Japan. I'll try my best to answer your questions. I'm not expert, but I'll try my best to answer the questions. Okay, thank you all for coming today. Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Okay, we
Tony.
thank Tony so much for his wonderful talk.